David Labouchere, and I'm an amateur athlete and an even more amateur chef. But today I'm cooking steak, and even I can manage a good steak. Now, today we're at DXBBQ and they're providing the meat for me, and I've got a beautiful ribeye in front of me that I'm going to cook for you in a pan. So we're basically going to do the most basic steak that you can think of, but also the most delicious. And my mouth is beginning to water already because this couldn't be more my favorite. Meat is good for you, really good for you. It's got everything you could possibly want, and it's very close to nature. And what we're going to do today is cook this beautiful piece of steak in a pan with some rosemary, some garlic, some butter, some olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper, and that's it. So let's get started. Okay, starting with the pan, I'll just warm that up a bit. He says, move, oh, yes, it works well enough, and we're in. And a good slosh of olive oil. Don't overheat the olive oil because it has a fairly low smoke point. And once we've got the olive oil in there, we'll do a chunk, excuse fingers, a chunk of butter. Really good news. Now I'm gonna let that just melt down a little bit, and using these wooden tongs, because we don't want to scratch the non-stick nature of this lovely skillet, I'm just gonna let that reduce down. And as soon as it's hot enough, we'll mix in some garlic and of course the rosemary. And that'll be the preparation just about done. And now that the skillet is hot enough, this pan is hot enough, we've got a little olive oil in there, a little bit of butter, I'm gonna pop in a clove of garlic and let that simmer nicely in the olive oil and the butter, and a couple of sprigs of rosemary, and let those cook on too. And as soon as while they're working, let's move you over here. And this is our ribeye for today. You can see this marbling, a lot of marbling in this piece of beef, and that marbling indicates that there's some fat in the beef. And fat is not your enemy. It's a good thing. Fat is good for you. It doesn't metabolize as fat. It won't make you fat. Fat is good and also very tasty. So I'm just going to make sure that this tastes good by rubbing in a little bit of salt, and I've got some basic sea salt here, but you might go for some Baja Gold from the southern part of California. That's amazing salt. Or you could go for something Himalayan sea salt, for instance. Pink salt from the Himalayas, not sea salt. This is sea salt. It's a lovely coarse salt, and I'm putting quite a lot on because salt isn't bad for you either, although you may have been told otherwise for years and years. So a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, basic grindy pepper. Get generous with this. So grind in the pepper, and while that's seasoning nicely, I'm just going to give it some pressure, a little bit of a rub, and we'll do both sides. Oh, look over here, that garlic is cooking nicely. It's now turned a lovely brown, and the smells I'm getting from this, even before I've cooked the steak, are quite delicious, making my mouth water. I'm just excited about steak. I could live on steak. I could just eat steak every day. And if you want good steak, DXBBQ, which is where I'm cooking today. So I've got to do the other side again. Generous seasoning. Love my salt, love my peppers. Lots of pepper. And rub that in. Rub it in well. And that's all the preparation done. Well, what's there left to do? Well, this is quite simple. We'll just stir up this juice a bit, turn over the rosemary. You can hear it crackle happily, and the smells are to die for. Absolutely delicious. And then what we're going to do is leave that in there for a little bit longer. This will be making a big difference to the cooking oils. And then I'm going to lay in my steak for about 2 minutes per side. Can you hear that? That is delicious in progress. So I'll keep this plate. I think I'm going to serve on my salt and pepper here. And I'm just going to give this 2 minutes from now to cook really nicely through one side, and just get these juices and baste my steak with the juices. So a little bit cack-handed there. Let's try again. There are the juices, basting the steak nicely, pouring these lovely juices. Remember, garlic, butter, a little bit of olive oil, all on top of that salt and pepper, and that's basting nicely. Give that a few moments. And we're about a minute into this side with 1 minute to go. And now we've done 2 minutes, and I'm going to just turn this over, and you'll see, oh, what a beautiful look that is. Look at that, perfection. I'm just going to take out the rosemary at this stage so that I have more room to baste, and the garlic, and I'll swap that over with the plate on which I'm going to serve. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is my steak. I'd just like to remind anybody watching that this is for me, and we're going to give it 2 minutes with a little bit of basting as we go. Again, using the wrong hand. Baste it with that lovely mix of olive oil, butter, garlic, and rosemary. And you can see that boiling nicely across the surface. And we give this 2 minutes, and then it's going to be ready to rest on a plate here. So the simplest of steaks, done to absolute perfection. Well, my perfection. I like my steak to be medium rare, so this will have some pink in the middle. Probably won't be running with blood, but it'll be quite delicious. Yeah. So we've now had 2 minutes per side. Quick check. Oh, beautiful. I'm going to take out my steak, lay it on my plate, and now I'm going to let that rest. Remember, this sort of steak from a good sustainable source has everything you could possibly want for a full meal. You don't have to add carbs, you don't have to add veg. This is a full meal in itself. Everything here is bioavailable, and you could live on this for the rest of your life quite healthily.